What screams I'm a bad parent? Not believing in telling your children no, the world will and should tell them no at times. They need to be prepared for that reality, or they will be an absolute menace to everyone around them. Zero interest in the kid. Doesn't care what they do or what happens to them as long as they don't inconvenience them. Your adult children don't talk to you. Parents who can't apologize to a child. It's okay to have human emotions and moment to be triggered or struggling and lash out or be wrong, but for the love of all things good, apologize and change. Invalidating your child's feelings, struggles, and / or mental illness in favor of you don't know what struggling really is or some form of back in my day or you kids are so weak. You have just robbed your child of support, told them their feelings do not matter, and informed them that you are not a safe person to confide in. Your own children being afraid of you, no child should be afraid of the person that looks after them nearly 24/7. I volunteer at / have had student placements at a children's hospital, and we've had patients with serious brain injuries due to abuse, shaking, attempted drowning, etc. So yeah, I'd say those parents are pretty bad. I was molested from age 3 to 6. Told my parents, but they did nothing. In my 20s, my mom had the audacity to tell me that I asked for it. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have a mother anymore. Yelling at the kid for every trivial thing. Your kid's never visiting once they move out or go to college. Saying things like, "You're such a disappointment, I wish I had a daughter instead, you ruined my and your mother's sex life." This is stuff I heard for years. Punishing adult children when they don't do everything you say by silent treatment or nasty texts. Days later acting like nothing happened. Saying, "You never let go of things." Ironically, never thinking you're a bad parent. "You're the reason I'm stuck with your father." "Sure mom, sure." Saying you're too young to be depressed and ignoring red flags from mental illnesses. Demeaning your children as means of punishment. Blaming your own mistakes and regrets on your kids. Triangulation. After divorce, one of our parents immediately weaponized our relationship against the other. I'm 32 and still unweaving all of the details in my brain. Edit. It hurts my heart to know so many can relate. But it warms my heart to be reminded that I'm not alone. Black heart. Never saying sorry to the kid when the parents make a mistake. This really screams it, but I absolutely hate when adults tell other adults their children's shameful secrets for no reason. Even strangers. It tells me those children probably don't feel like they can trust their parents. Automatically dismissing and invalidating many of your child's opinions because you think since they're a child, they don't know anything. Yes, they're not always right, but they're still people and should be treated with respect. Treating your son as the man of the house because you're single. Making your child think they aren't good enough. Telling your kid that you need them only for their money in the future. Treating your kid as your therapist. Using children as pawns in divorces or separations. Not giving the kids rights / privacy. Using them as props / gain for your YouTube channel. When it's Christmas and you're glad you don't have to see them. When the best gift they can give you is their absence. Attacking the self-esteem in any way. The infantilization of their children. Wanting them to stay helpless babies forever because they don't want them to grow up. I'm a nanny and it seems like a growing trend. It's one thing to engage in some infantile behavior or spoil your children a little. It's another thing to bend to every whim and not make your kids uncomfortable. Example with some kids I'm currently dealing with, not potty training them. Honestly speaking, verbal manipulation and humiliation. I had great parents but my cousins did not. My aunt has an elder daughter and a son. She used to verbally abuse her elder daughter in front of everyone. She even used to hit her in front of everyone. Mind you, this was when she was 18. 10 years later we were reminiscing our childhood. The daughter is pretty successful with a startup, but she pretty openly said in front of everyone, even the aunt, that the trauma a child faces that young isn't healthy and that even if she loved her mom, she wishes her mom treated her better. My aunt just shrugged dismissively, remarking this generation is too soft. Ironically, the younger son is spoiled as fuck and hit my aunt back when he was 18 in retaliation of being accused of selling cocaine in his school, which he did LMAO. Nevertheless, he was sent to Canada to study business and rarely talks with my aunt. Life is weird. When one of your mom's boyfriends touches you when you're a 14-year-old girl and you tell her, and she says don't flirt with my boyfriend. Years later you bring it up and she says I don't remember saying that. Constantly deflecting parental responsibilities to other people, groups, or organizations. My stepsister to her 8-year-old daughter, it's not my job to help you with your homework, that's what teachers are for. Telling your kid I wish you were never born when they're suicidal and saying they wish they were dead. Constantly insisting that your child is back talking when they're trying to explain you hurt them. Not correcting your kids. Using the "I put food on your table" argument when the child points out your disrespectful behavior. Being addicted to meth. Hugging your kid while only ever looking at other people's reaction and the kid doesn't quite look that comfortable with it. Hugging the kid in a manner which looks like theater performance basically rather than actual affection. Only ever claiming their kid is the best and brightest and only ever talking about their school/studies and nothing else. Dismissing the kid's POV by default without even listening to anything the kid has to say. Remember, the opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. If you see kids being neglected or ignored or not cared about at all, that's a good indication that their parents/s aren't good. When you beat your kids over the slightest of mistakes, calling them stupid and being a raging alcoholic. A bad parent is also someone who screams at you and blames you for their mistakes and tells you you're a mistake that you were born. A bad parent is someone who treats you like an investment. Those who molest their kids. Those who drown in drugs and alcohol and neglecting their children. Helicopter parents. I've had several friends and other acquaintances whose parents were incredibly strict and controlling, and those friends were the most emotionally unstable, reckless, and chaotic people I've ever known. Edit. And I don't want to give the impression that I think it's a cut and dry smother your children and they'll end up delinquents kind of situation. I just found that whenever I encountered young adults who were recently freed from their parents who controlled their every move growing up, most often they turned to some wacky shit that they never would have gotten away with as a kid. On that note, my parents were beyond slack when raising me, and I could have gotten away with a lot of stuff if I'd had any desire to rebel, but I really didn't. As a teacher, parents who are either not involved with their children's education at all, or the ones who consistently make excuses or laugh it off when their child is misbehaving in school. I emailed home about a student recently who consistently would destroy art supplies. The response from the parent was, haha, she's so silly. I'll talk with her. Previous interactions went the same. Wouldn't let her stay after for a detention because she can't miss soccer practice and saying, boy, she sure has a lot of energy. Never giving the child an actual consequence or holding her accountable for her actions. Completely setting this child up for failure once they get out into the real world. Pulling out a 12-gauge shotgun when I don't listen. Having too many kids or more than you can afford and raise yourself, so you make the older child or children take care of the little ones so they stop being children because they have to be like a second set of parents. It's not fair. Teaching my parents will kill me if I don't fix this soon enough. Instead of, I wonder if my parents could help me with this. Edit. Guess we all have this experience in our childhood. Man, anxiety really sucks. Leaving your kid home while the rest of your family goes to France for Christmas. Downplaying their mental health struggles and taking years to realize that your child is suicidal and desperately needs help. Yelling at your kids. I don't mean hey, get off the counter, or stop. You're gonna fall. I mean screaming things like what is wrong with you, or do you even try? When you get mad and get loud, you are doing 3 things: teaching them that people are allowed to yell at them and say awful things to them, they should accept that treatment. Lowering their self-esteem. Whatever you are saying to them they will believe. If you say you're so lazy, it will not motivate them to be less lazy, it will simply force the lazy trait upon them. Teaching them that they should always avoid serious conversations with you. You are not a safe person to talk to. Edit typo. Picking up your kids from school only to ignore them the second you get home. You go straight to your computer to play Fortnite while your dog literally takes a shit near the front door, and you yell at your kids to pick them up, all while your date is just royally confused. Was in McDonald's the other night. A dude came in after midnight and was there for over an hour, clearly buzzed and seemingly in no hurry. I go to leave. Out in the parking lot is this little girl, can't be more than 2 to 3 years old, bawling her eyes out and trying to climb out of the back seat of a car. It's less than 20 F outside and all the windows on the car were up. I run over expecting her parents to be in the car, stopping traffic as I go so the kid doesn't get run over and nobody is in the car. Car isn't running and is nasty. A McDonald's employee who was also watching all this, and I take her into the McDonald's, and no sooner than we get inside, the dude who has been just chilling for over an hour comes up and snatches the little girl and cusses her all the way back to the car she climbed out of and drives away. I am not a violent man, but I contemplated at least 3 felonies in the time it took for him to drag her back to the car. JS.TL Drive. You see the worst parenting at McDonald's late night. As a teacher, not being involved in your child's education. Being a helicopter parent. Let your kids experience failure, let them make mistakes, let them get hurt, mildly. That is how they learn. Let them make their own choices. You don't have to let them choose which of 20 shirts they want to wear, but give them 2 to 3 appropriate options and let them choose. Using the saying, I brought you into this world, I can take you out of it. Recording your child while they're having a meltdown/tantrum and posting it on social media, for likes, clout, assurance, or whatnots, no idea what they're thinking, instead of helping them to regulate their emotions and understand what causes the emotion, how to deal with it, and that there are appropriate ways to communicate your feelings. Giving your oldest child nothing but shower gel and a 20 pounds note while simultaneously giving the younger siblings born from a different mother over 100 pounds worth of presents each on top of 300 pounds in notes. This is the life my partner lives. Edit. To clarify, the youngest sibling is 18 and was given a new phone, an iPad, a new gaming console with 10 different games and 200 pounds in Christmas money. Meanwhile, my partner was barely given anything aside from the aforementioned shower gel, which hadn't even been wrapped, and 20 pounds. Thinking that small children are just selfish tiny adults. Your kid isn't asking for stuff because they are selfish, mostly weary, excluding their occasional manipulative tendencies. They are doing it because they are 5. Don't be a dick to your kid because they are asking for support/help/food. Shit my dad has said to me growing up were definitely red flag toxicity. Shit like your grandpa embarrassed me in public growing up, now it's my turn, and I think your friend is gay, he better not make you gay. Locking your child in a closet with a cat when they have a severe allergy. Comparing your kids to other children. Not letting your kid talk to their doctor. I tried talking to my doctor twice about trouble falling asleep. At both appointments my dad would cut me off and tell the doctor it's just because he plays video games. The doctor would shrug and nothing was done. Grossly decayed baby teeth. Smoking in the car with the kids inside. Parentification of kids. I've known kids that had to be a third parent to their siblings because their actual parents weren't there for them. Having kids for the sake of government aid. I knew a lady who fostered multiple kids for the checks. Posting your kids on social media 24/7. Picking favorites. Screaming at your kids for your poor parenting skills. An adult child who without any extenuating circumstances is not able to carry out the normal tasks of independent adult living.